and enemies. I have a lot of both. Alright. Welcome to our analysis stream. Sorry, a little too loud there. Welcome! What are we doing, friends? Friends, countrymen? I've got games from Anonymouse, Sneedling, Tezate, Morales, Arse, and Asturbate. I suspect someone's missing. Who is missing? Hey, chess people, WJ Loof. WJ Loof here from the beginning of the stream. How's your recuperation coming? Sladgie went live. Always off to the left ever since I switched computers. I really need a new I'm gonna move to a new apartment. We have a new setup, but right now I don't like the way this sets up. Why is it? Because the laptop camera is like off. It's off center. It feels like it should be in the middle. It's weird. Feels like I'm centered in front of the laptop, yet I'm over on the one side. I don't understand what that is. Anyway, it wouldn't be a Thursday stream without an Astromate. Goiju. Guys, hi chess people. Blobix is here. Guys, we're starving. Good seeing you. Physical therapy. 4 sets of 15. Ooh. 315 pounds. Jeez. It's about as much as I feel like I weigh now. You could lift me. I feel like I weigh about 315 pounds. I was getting back in shape at one point a couple years ago. It's starting to fall apart. Alright, guys. What's up? Where's Move 11? No game for Move 11 tonight. I've got Anonymous, Snedling, Snezek, Tezake. They're like two dwarves. Mirales, Arse. Was it Mirales? Yeah. Arse and Asturbate. But as I said, I think that I'm missing someone. It feels like I'm missing someone. Schumacher never sends in games anymore. I don't know what his problem is. Schumacher, where are you? Alright. Thursday analysis stream. Thanks everyone for joining us. Blobix, good to have the master in the house. Arsenal fan. Cheers everyone. Little water. Mineral water. Spicy. Spicy water. Alright. 8 viewers. We're kicking ass. This week we have 1 gift sub from Move 11 and no cheers. Cheer now to be number 1. It's been a really slow week this month with donations on Twitch, so we might have to start like streaming video games or something. I refuse to play on chess.com to attract more viewers. I would sooner like start streaming Hearthstone or something. You can't play chess if you're groggy from pills. What? But alcohol's alright. Ask Karpo about like falling down and getting like beaten up or whatever. Goichu, gifting tier 1 sub to the community to Man-N1214. Thank you, Goichu. 2nd gift sub this week. Let's get the hype train started. I'm going to get the analysis started, okay? The first game is from Anonymous. Our user Anonymous. So he apparently played Turzo, and I'm assuming this is like a simul game, but I'm actually not 100% sure. It's Anonymous versus Torzo Attila. I have a tendency, even though I know how to pronounce Hungarian names, to kind of like backslide into English American sort of pronunciations, even though I know better. And it's so tempting because everyone says Terzo, but it's not Terzo. It's Torzo Attila, not Terzo. But I'll backslide like everybody else into mispronouncing stuff. You can't play chess if you're groggy, from Brezhnev. Korchnoi, that's funny. Alright. A lot of love between Korchnoi and Karpov. It's kind of hard to pick a side there. They're both pretty much evil. Alright. So this is Anonymous versus Torzo. E4, E5. Iman. It's the Rostalimo. The Rostalimo. Iman. It's the Rostalimo. I don't know about that. Who says that? Is that... Who says that? Is that just a joke? Hey man, it's John Bartholomew. No, that didn't work. Toruzo. I didn't even see that it was a Roslimo when I said that. Oh shit. Yeah, it's not a Roslimo. Hey man, it's a Rostalimo. It's actually a Spanish. So Anonymous here playing white against Torzo Attila. Hungarian teammate of mine this year. He was a teammate, but I don't know. It seems like I see Torzo playing different stuff all the time. He's like got a really wide opening repertoire. We just started. You haven't missed a game. So Torzo playing black. I mean, you're playing a simul or against a low-rated player. I don't think you want to play the Berlin defense. So a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castles, and now bishop e7, rook e1. And then Attila played b5. For those of you that don't know, Torzo Attila is a Hungarian IM. Another month. Torzo Attila is a Hungarian IM who's been known to stream on the Evil Chess site. I've known him for a long time. Not a bad player. He's not, doesn't have my greatness, but he's not bad. I was just talking about this position with one of my students earlier this week. You know, b5 is played in the vast majority of games, but it's not forced. You know, interestingly, like d6 is possible. You know, move 11. We had a training game in this where I was black and you played like bishop takes c6. And I was talking about how that was the like book refutation according to a game of yours. This isn't a game of mine, bro. This is Anonymous versus Torzo. No, good idea though. You better be sorry. Thanks for coming up with good ideas. Yeah, the Anonymous is just so. Anon versus Torzo. He thinks I'm Anonymous. So this I thought was called the Rubinstein variation, where black plays d6. But in the Schachverlag series, the German opening book series, they called it like the Nimzovich variation. And then of course, like ironically, Wikipedia calls it, because everything here is classified by Wikipedia, it's Averbach variation. So it has like 3 different names. I just want to say, like, you know, it's possible to play the black side of the Royal Pez without playing b5. We shouldn't underestimate the weakening of the move b5. b5, it's not, you know, because it's not a no-brainer. b5, bishop b3, and now d6. What does mean Torzo? I don't know what Torzo means in Hungarian. Tormix. Well, I know what a Tormix is. I've never heard of anyone else with that name. I don't know that it's a word. I'm not sure. It's very strange. I never met anyone else named Torzo. Tormix is is like a blended drink or something. But, alright, bishop e3. Here's a question for y'all. What's the benefit? Like, seriously, what's the benefit of black playing d6 instead of castles? I mean, if you're recommending this opening to someone, right? D6 threatens knight a5. Ooh, scary, right? But seriously, why is it so much more prevalent to play d6 than castles? The marshal is like the best line there is for black, honestly. I guess that the marshal is just too drawish or something. If you go by statistics, the marshal is clearly the best line. Kind of have to castle now with the early b5, I think. What? d6 is the number one move here. Well, you will castle, bro. It's just a question of, like, when you do it. I mean, of course you're going to castle, but I just mean, like, the move order. I don't understand why d6 is almost twice as popular as castles. Whereas castles gives up less information. If you castle, you're giving less information to your opponents. Like, they don't know if you're going to play the marshal or you're going to go back into a normal Spanish. Why is it better to, like, give the opponent more information? I don't understand why more people play d6 when you have both options when you can castle. Alright. Whatever. So d6 and now... Whoa. Black is threatening knight a5. Pay attention. Black is threatening knight a5. And Anand here plays h3. You know, I mean, I was taught as a schoolboy never to allow knight a5 in this type of position. But I have seen a few people do it. I don't know. This is like a intentional move. You know, it's not just about like allowing black to win your bishop. It's like you're allowing black to trade pieces in a slightly cramped position. So even if you said, well, I don't mind so much allowing knight a5 to take my bishop on b3, the other problem is, like, you have more space and you're letting black trade pieces, which I don't really like. Yeah, for a long time the marshal was considered no good. Right. Maybe Bobix is right. But honestly, like, the statistics here are all from, like, games in the last 40 years. They never have any older games. If knight a5, maybe we don't play c3 and weaken the light squares. Of course, but maybe we just won't move anything, you know? Just move our king back and forth and not create any weaknesses. But obviously h3 is a mistake. The funny thing is that Torzo doesn't play knight a5, which I don't get. You know what I mean? I would definitely play knight a5. The only reason I can see to not play knight a5, funnily enough, like, d4 has an even score. Is there anything to this? It doesn't look particularly good, no. The only reason to not to play knight a5 from Torzo's perspective would be, like, if he really wants to play a theoretical position. He wants to give Anand, like, a second chance to go back into theory. I think Torzo, yeah, he wants to play a line he knows. He simply doesn't. He knows this is a good move, but he wants to play a theoretical game. But you should play knight a5. You're trading pieces and gaining the bishop. I agree with move 11 though. d3 is definitely best. And I've seen some games with, like, bishop d2 or whatever. Castles, bishop d2, knight takes b3. I had a game like this against somebody. Was it you, move 11? Because you do have control of the a5 square, for whatever that's worth. Do you guys remember who I played this against? Of course it's a negative score already. It's like a noob variation for white. But move 11's right. Like, it's better not to weaken the light squares. But I mean, who would play this with white? You know, that's, it's not that it's that bad, but you know, like strong grandmasters just don't play this stuff. They're not going to play it. Period. End of story. So Terzo lets him get away with the move order and accuracy. H3, castles, and now C3. We're back to normal line. Knight A5, bishop C2, and now C5, the main line. Chigorin variation. D4, also main line. I think this is the only critical test. I don't think that D3 is as good, but it would avoid exchanges. Like there is a benefit to this line. I guess you don't trade anything. The Ahms variation, exactly. You played D4 against Terzo after bishop E7? Ah, that's something else. That's something else. Queen C7. Oh my goodness. So now we have a highly unusual move. Here, white usually plays knight on BD2. And, you know, once in a while you see people play D5. That looks like an Ahms. Black will play the Ahms setup with the knight slinking back here. He likes that. But I think you should keep the tension with white. So knight on BD2. Mickey Adams was recommending the D5 line, and the basis of that was just the computer likes the space advantage. No, you wouldn't understand. It's about class, Arsenal fan. I understand. Yeah. This doesn't... We're talking about... Yeah, he's talking about class. This is old-fashioned. As an expert talks on class... We have no class here in the stream. We're the lowest cast of chess streams on Twitch. Sorry, Move 11. No elite class here. Yeah, I mean, D5's, it's old school. I don't know. I mean, the statistics are really good for white, but again, like when you think about it, you can't go purely on statistics. I mean, you need to know, like, well, I mean, who's playing that D5? You know, are they mostly like stronger players? 100 rated hot tub chess. I think there was a 300 streaming now. I wanted to do like 280. It's around the weight you can bench. I don't know, man. I believe in knight on BD2. I think like playing D5, maybe some people might like it because you have a more like fixed pawn structure. I mean, the plans would be this just feels more correct. I mean, fundamentally. So B4, an unusual move. I mean, I hate using this terminology anti-positional because it's kind of vague. But let's put it a different way. I would say B4 is weakening and committal. There must be an idea behind this move. You're forcing black's hand. I mean, clearly, like, the c-file could be good for black, but it also could fall into white's hands. The bigger issue is the knight. Pawns never move backward. So they kind of have to take now, because you're, like, threatening to take toward the center. Exactly. Black doesn't really want to allow, like, this or something. You know, now white has a really big advantage with this, like, protected passer in the middle. So b4 basically like forces black to take. Although it looks like some people have played this. Moduliev, who's a good player. That does seem strange though. Again, I would think like this would be a good position for white. Maybe it's not that bad for black. I guess Moduliev is 2600 for a reason. But fundamentally, yeah, it looks safer not to do that. So take, and now what? Can I like ban specific words from Uber driver? Thank you, 500 bits. What if we made it? I won't do it to him now. Since he donated 500 bits, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna ban 1972, but it is a good year. Uber driver is stuck in 1972. I wish I was stuck in 1972. All right, just keep getting born again. La Negro. Who? La Negro versus Jealous are nicknames for Ding and Rockport. Sounds like you're speaking Hungarian. No, I mean, this seems right. Take. Well, knight c4 seems wrong to you. Well, I don't know what's right or wrong. I don't know the difference between right and wrong. I'm a Texan gun owner. But, I wouldn't make any pronouncements, about either. I mean, I think only, like, analysis, extensive analysis can show which is better. There's not enough games here to base your analysis on statistics. The knight will get traded off. But on the other hand, like, trades are good for black because less space. I mean, I'm not sure that black minds trading pieces. You said, like, at least has a stable outpost, and you can swap pieces. I mean, I guess if you're playing for a win with the black pieces, maybe you want to avoid exchanges. But if you're playing for the black win with the black pieces, maybe like the Chigorin variation. I don't know. It's a little too solid. Knight c4. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here. Well, we got a problem with the b4 pawn. So I'm not sure how this works. It's a pawn sacrifice. Here, knight takes b4, bishop b3. But I mean, who's played this? Like, check this out. Klaus Klun, German IM, Todorovich, GM, he doesn't even have a first name anymore. Ali Marandi against Banus. I don't know who that is. Ali Marandi and Del Rio. Shit happens. Yeah, that does look pretty ominous, So let's see, knight c6. It's a full-fledged pawn sack. Knight c3. So this was first played by Klunt in 1987 and never repeated until Del Rio lost to Alexander Neshev in 2004. Yeah, I don't know. I assume white is like a Mora Gambit player against the Sicilian or something. It's not very convincing, to be honest. I don't think it looks that convincing. But interesting, okay. I would take the pawn, I'd be happy to take the pawn. If I were black here. A3 lost. Oh, good old Andras Mezaros. My nemesis. Snetsake, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the bit donation. Uber Driver first on the board with 500 bits. Snetstag, your game is in the list. I mean, I just thought like maybe this was possible, right? So an old game from Hungary, IM versus FM, 1995. We can regroup our pawn, recoup. Vlad, let's see. Pester at Swan. He pestered his opponent. Knight takes d4, knight takes d4, knight e5. This could be problematic as well. That's not good. Wow. Interesting. So maybe we're onto something here. No, I think we're onto something here. A3, so freaking crazy Mazer Oshandrash, like, lost one game with A3. But what's wrong with A3? It's actually not even that bad. You don't, you look at the game, actually. It looks like it's not that bad. I thought black would have more counterplay, but the computer's coming up with zilch. Knight d4, knight d4, pawn d4, bishop b2, d5. Black isn't even quite equalizing here. No, I think this is an argument in favor of knight c4. Uber drivers always like mixing like random positions and then saying like this happened in 1972. You do realize like it has to be the exact same position for it to be relevant. Alright. Yeah, I would go with knight c4. So the a3 is better than it looks. Black plays knight c4, and now knight on bd2. Yeah, and it's like, okay, trade my knight. I don't care. Oh, so you're talking about queen on d2. Maybe this is what happened, Uber driver. Maybe this is what happened. Maybe black played knight takes d2, queen d2. But, I mean, why would black... You see, no one played knight takes d2 here. The knight on c4 is strong. Bishop e6. Or bishop d7 or even knight d7 was played in one game by this guy Perez Candelario, who's obviously not a bad player. I think he was I thought he was the guy from, what's that, Andorra or something. Okay, knight on bd2. So this is a mistake, apparently. But I mean, okay, say black plays one of these moves, like bishop e6. Bishop e6 you can take with the bishop, right? This is the idea. Knight takes e4 take with the bishop. There's another game that Klunt played against Karol Tibor, 1988. So what's the idea if like bishop d7, knight takes c4? You know, I don't like that pawn a lot, to be honest. This pawn makes me a little bit like worried. It's interesting though. That's quite a different type of structure. Rook e3. That's a computer move. Yeah, I don't know if I would feel comfortable with my pawn structure getting all weird with b takes c, but maybe black has enough counterplay. I would go with bishop e6. And then one player even played this. Knight takes c4, b takes c4. I mean, what's up with that knight? Fernandez Romero Holmes, right? He's a GM. Temporary pawn sack where? F5. I sink, therefore I am. I don't like this a lot. I would play bishop e6. So this is a new move, knight takes d2. How bad can it be? But are we playing against Bobby Fischer? Here again, white could take either way. I mean, the main idea is to get the bishop to b2, though. The bish. Put your bish on b2. Therefore, queen takes with the idea of bishop b2. I guess knight takes d2 is inaccurate. Oh man, Arsenal, you came up with a move that no one else thought of. Knight takes d2. That's perverse. It takes a really sick individual to think of that. But I applaud your creativity. No, in all seriousness, we have to consider all our options. Of course, this is possible. It's possible. I mean, like, this attacks 3 things. BFD, you know? Maybe the queen will get trapped. This is kind of funny, right? Whoops. Here. Not, like, gonna go in there with the queen. But knight d2 does pull the knight away from the center. So, you know, I would expect knight, like, bishop takes or queen takes. But queen takes makes the most sense, I think. You're developing. You're going to play bishop b2. You're going to connect the rooks. You get the queen off the back rank here. And I'm not sure about this. See, this could be a problem. The decision to put the bishop on b7. In 2021, you saw the Attila self-challenge on a stream to obtain the GM norms. Well, it sounds ridiculous to me. I'm not going to criticize anybody else because I don't have any GM norms. But let's say there's a much stronger chance that Sladgie like wins the World Senior than Turzo starts scoring GM norms. I think the bishop it may look good on b7, but actually you might regret putting it on b7. It's going to get shut down by d5. Assume nothing. Black has a problem here, though, if you think about it. Because bishop b2 is coming. He's going to overwhelm e5. If you put your bishop on d7, you have no way to protect the e5. Yeah, I think this is just... It's not an accident that Black didn't play knight takes d2 in all these 13 games, dude. This is not an accident. You know, this is why. After takes, queen takes, bishop b2 is coming, bishop e7, and now this is coming, and we're going to play d5 and shut down the bishop. First of all, we're going to put pressure on e5, make him cave. But here I wonder, you know, did Anonymous make a mistake? Because this is tempting, but at the same time, like, how does Black deal with this? Shouldn't we play bishop b2 first? To crack the e5? I'm younger every day. The rumor is they might have the World Senior in Buenos Aires. So I better not. There's like 200% inflation in Argentina. I better not stock up on pesos too early. They say the currency just like devalues in your hands. Best to go with dollars. You know the Argentines are only allowed to like change $200 worth of pesos a day, or so there's some kind of limit, dude. That's messed up. I am getting younger. It's all the alcohol that I drink. I don't like this for Black. This is looking good for White. I mean, Arsenal, rook c, even just like rook c1, we don't have to do anything fancy. Well, that's like Venezuela used to be. They just make baskets out of the currency and stuff. They had these like expert basket weavers who used to make currency out of like Venezuelan bolivars. You could buy like any kind of thing made out of paper money. I like d5, but why not like force him to give up his structure first? I mean, okay, so now Black has to give up the center. I'm just saying, like, okay. So do you want to make him go up the center and let his bishop stay active here, or you like d5 better? Do give him a chance to resuscitate. I see dead kings Indians. Queen is overworked defending what? What? Queen is overworked defending bishop c2. What you talking about? Oh, you're talking about d5 for black. When? Wait, when is black going to play d5? You're not saying he could play it right away, are you? When is black going to be playing d5? Like here? 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 You're not implying that this is an option, are you? Arsenal. No, but this is not clear, is it? So let's say takes. You got overloadedness. You're talking about stuff like that. It's very complicated. Well, that's another good reason. Okay, it's a good reason to play d5. I'll go along with that. But let's say, okay, if bishop d7, then I'm definitely playing this. Alright, Terzo plays bishop b7, which may or may not be a mistake. d5. And now knight d7. And now for the first time, I think, like, yeah, you're f5. Why not rook c8 here? Well, of course he can play rook c8 here. Maybe he was concerned. Maybe he was concerned he would need the bishop to go back to c8. I don't know. Rook c8. Bishop just goes to d3, puts pressure here. You got possible sacks here later. Sacks Fifth Avenue. You gotta watch for that fork trick. I would say the queen wants to go back here. My honest problem with d5 is that it's, you know, once you close it up, it's a symmetrical structure. Now, how are we gonna win? We're just gonna, like, you know, are you planning on, like, invading on the c file and black will just, like, give up, come up with his hands up, or once we close the position, how do we win? You know what I mean? Smells like Olive Garden. The Olive Garden. I mean, I don't think rook c8 does anything special. In fact, he might want to have this. Yeah, I don't like black's position. But it's still hard for white to break through. What if knight h5? This sort of... Is this a move? It seems sort of stupid, doesn't it? I don't know. 97, and this move I have to say I understand, but I don't understand at the same time. Because of the idea of f5, it's really asking me a lot. It's asking a lot of me to analyze this game. It's so complex. Alright. No more closed Spanishes today. No, I'm not in Argentina. I'm just talking about the World Senior Championship might be held in Argentina. So it's in November. But it's not official yet. I can play in the World Senior. I'm 50 years old. If they hold it in Argentina, I might go. Alright. I'm in a third world country here, Hungary. A5. This was actually played. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never been to Argentina. I had some friends, and there's lots of chess players, and it's... Argentina is historic chess country, but I've never been there. I wanted to go. I had some old friends from Argentina who were chess players. Okay, a5, a3. I wonder if this is even a good idea for black to play a5. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, is the b5 pawn going to become a weakness? Yeah, I don't know about a3. He wants to, yeah, what's the point? Just to give the bishop a retreat square? I mean, frankly, did you know Hungarians are Mongols? Some of them. The Hungarians are a lot of things. That's funny, Blobix. I thought this was better, honestly. It inhibits f5. It keeps an eye on b5. Okay, it doesn't prevent f5, but I mean, obviously that's a very risky move. If black wants to try to pull this off, you know, I mean, maybe you could do something crazy like this. But I don't know about bishop b3. I don't know. This looks real bad. I don't love the bishop on b3. There's more questions than answers, though. I don't know if black should play a5. I don't know anything. I agree that a3 seems sort of weird, but I mean, I guess he's uncomfortable about a4. Some old people, yeah. Blobix is being sarcastic. Of course, we only have old people speaking German, too. In Hungary. Only the old people. The generation that are like, yeah, it was a terrible joke. What do you expect from a Frenchman? Alright. a5. Why not take? I guess the answer would be like, why? Why take? You know, he'll just take with the queen and try to free his position. I mean, is it white a little bit better here? Or is it my imagination? The idea of bishop b4. It does look a little bit better for white. I don't know how serious it is. I would argue that we're a tiny bit better, but let's see. Rook a7, rook a6, bishop b4, knight c5, bishop takes c5, d takes c5, knight takes c5 or something. And then this, you have f4. Man, I mean, c4, bishop c2, rook e8 or something. The situation is very unclear. Knight e7 instead of f4, sacking the exchange, or not. Situation is admittedly a little shaky. There's also intermezzos with like c4, man. It could get totally crazy. Yeah, this is actually better for black. Damn. So the computer thinks rook a8. And ironically, black's fine. Okay, so a3 takes, queen takes. I mean, this is definitely weird. This is awkward as well. I don't understand what we're doing. Maybe bishop on c2 would be a bit more natural. I think bishop c2 is okay. I know that it's a bad bishop, sort of. Alright, let's see. Here. Now I'm worried about f5 break. Guys, thanks for joining us. This is a game between Anonymous and an international master. I guess played in a simul here. Bishop g5. If it didn't drop a piece, it would be dangerous. Lightning bolt. The human lightning rod, they call him. Okay, rook e3 is not so bad, I guess, but White's pieces are starting to look like they're on very strange squares. Why are all of our pieces like up front and personal here? Rook fb8, he's planning going back. Bishop a2. But why a2? Why not c2, c3po? I mean, we don't have to worry about this. This is no problem, you know. What is he going to do to you if you put the bishop on c2? Here? I like this better for some reason. Terzo has a plan to re-coordinate his pieces and play for f5. And now rook a4. Alright, that also would have been controlled. Oh man. And now Terzo just eats the pawn on e4. What is that, a one-move blunder? So he's literally hanging a piece here? You could also play queen takes e4. Knight takes c4, rook takes c7, right? So after rook takes c4, you chose to play rook takes c5 instead. Why is it? What is it? White is winning a piece. It's just a question of like which way you want to win a piece. Do you want to win the piece this way? Of course, it's like absurd. I mean, Terzo was getting going here, and I think if he plays maybe b4, it looks like Black's like better, you know, objectively. White's kind of awkwardly placed here. I mean, I'm looking at something like this, you know. This doesn't look. I don't like this situation either. But then he just like got overconfident. Looks to me like Black's better. Yeah, he's +1. He just simply hung a piece. But it would have been easier to play queen takes c4. This is like cleaner. I like the fact that you're getting the queen off the board. Bishop d8 maybe, rook back, and then bishop b6, bishop e3. The way you played it, the queen stay on the board. After rook e4, rook takes c5. I think the queen staying on the board, you don't want to... Hey, anonymous player, here's your game. You know, if you're up a piece, you don't want the queens to stay on the board necessarily. So Terzo has more practical chances. Now, of course, he doesn't trade queens. Queen e2. Be careful now. Probably safest to go bishop b2 or rook b1. So rook b1, e4. e4 doesn't work because the bishop takes f6. Pawn takes f3. Queen e8 mate. Now you're... I mean, he has one pawn for a piece here. This should be a pretty easy win. Though I don't love this knight. Yeah, get your knight back in the game. Well, I mean, a4 could be dangerous. You're actually giving him a pawn, fast pawn. got him in an attacking situation, he might squeeze out to g6. But he resigned here? Or he lost on time? Well, I mean, if I was him, I would try king g6. I think there's still... He lost on time? I don't know. I don't know. Alright, interesting game, but sadly it was marred by a blunder. This is Sladgie. Icy Teas. Who is this mysterious Icy Teas? Ice Teas. Ice Teas. A Grand Prix. Icy T submitting a game. I was white. Anonymous versus Anonymous. Thanks, Uber Driver, for the bit donation earlier, guys. Uber Driver on the leaderboard. We will have an Goichu with gift subs this week. Don't forget to support your local chess streamer. Good educational experience. You played well. Okay, where am I? Okay, we're on game 2. Sladgie. Sned. Bishop d4 mate. You lost here? You were white? Anonymous gifter gifting a tier 1 sub community to Merles14. Oh, you're black. Thank you, anonymous gifter. Whoever you are. I love the ghost. It looks like a Pac-Man ghost. Surprised that Atari doesn't sue them or something. Alright. d4, g6, e4, d6. Generous donor. I agree, Morales. It's definitely a great person. Wonder who it could be. Someone who obviously wants to remain anonymous. Knight c3, bishop g7. I always wonder why people use this move order. What's the point of the move order? What does this do? What does d6 do? I mean, I should actually note that it's pretty unusual to have an opponent who plays d4 and on g6 is willing to play e4. Most d4 players are not necessarily comfortable, switching between e4 and d4. So, I would say the minority of players, you have to be a fairly advanced player to be willing to play e4. I used to use that a lot, even against moderately strong players. A lot of the queen pawn players, they just religiously hate playing e4. I don't see what is d6 versus bishop g7? Well, I guess we can still play the Pierts where we delay. You can still play the Pierts where you're delaying bishop g7. In the main lines, like knight c3, knight f6, if you play certain variations, black will delay bishop g7. He knows I have studied the Jinji Indian and will go for those kind of crazy positions. B-feeder attack. But after knight c3, I would say, okay, you can play like c6 or something. This is an interesting line. Then if f4, I played a game like this the other day. Thank you, anonymous player. But Alex Ivanov's favorite line was like bishop g7, bishop e3, queen b6, for example. Going after this pawn or something. I think I lost a game with this once. I don't really know the modern well enough. Bishop g7. Now, okay. f4 is the main line. Like Austrian attack. Bishop e3. h3, g3, f3, bishop c4. Bishop c4 has been popular. I noticed there was this sort of trend. I was seeing more people playing the sort of bishop c4 lines. Yeah, Tiger Modern. The Modern Tiger. Modern Tigers. That's kind of dated now. Thanks, Anonymous Player, for the gift. 100 bits. Tigers Modern. Anyway, I played the classical Pierts a lot, so I played this type of stuff. a6 is a good move. This is how I lost to Sebe once when he came like 12 minutes late to a 15-minute rapid game. That was embarrassing. I'm sitting there with white and he comes to like 3 minutes for the rest of the game, and it's so psychologically annoying, you know. And I lost. He did this type of setup with black. Yeah, a4 is... No, I think a6 is a good line. What should white play here? Statistically, I don't know, man. I don't know. a4 is normal. Now b6. And again, this is how I lost against Sebe. So are you going to play like a hippo here if bishop c4? This is the game. Is there a problem with knight? No. I think knight c6 might be a move. Well, there might be a problem with a5, Arsenal. Let's check it. So a4, knight c6, a5. It's not a problem. Funny that no one's played that. Huh. Well, apparently there is another problem with d5. But it's a playable move. It's not really the main idea. a6 just kind of provokes a4, and now black goes into this fianchetto. But maybe knight f6 is better. You know, this is an interesting question. When I lost to Sebe, I mean, I'm sure he played knight f6 at some point. The question is, like, when you should play knight f6. This is too early to be dangerous. Like if you took my game against Sebe, I got in trouble because it was like bishop e2, b6, castles, something like bishop b7, e5, d5, knight e5. I don't know if that happened. It must have been something different. This is actually another Sebe game here. Zaragatsky Sebe from 2012. So he's definitely done this before. But it is an interesting question as to when you should play knight f6. So after b6, bishop c4, that's... If you don't play b6 right away, and you play knight f6 here, and white plays bishop c4 anyway, with the a4 in, You know, it's not as strong. You can play castles now, and I think you're actually threatening to play knight takes e4 here. Aren't you? Well, now you are. There's 2 games with knight takes e4. Black, like, lost them both. Bishop takes f7. Is this really? Nakaguchi. And someone actually won with knight takes e4, d5. Falco Bindrich was cheating. He's another famous cheater. Cheating grandmaster. Busted. D takes e4, bishop takes e4. But I don't think that black's position is bad. Black's position is normal. So I guess if you don't play b6, bishop c4 isn't as dangerous. b6 is riskier than knight f6. Alright. Now white plays bishop c4, that's the sharpest move. Now if you play e6, you're in a hippo. I had a similar game with Arsenal fan the other day. It was a hippo. Not the same exact position, but similar. Where you know, Arsenal did like... Well, it was different because we hadn't played a4, a6, but... I mean, this is a pretty standard hippo position. And you walked into bishop takes f7 check, but how strong is it? Wow, Lukatnik had a game where he won with black. He's very tricky. He has a lot of weird lines he plays and stuff. Is this actually good for white? Speaking of winning. Blobix, you don't know Hotnik? He plays in the French teams all the time. I would imagine that Blobix would have met him. 96 check. He knows like everybody. Queen d7. Knight g7 check. So knight g7 check, king f7. And Ochotnik play king f8. What's the difference? King f7, king f8. King f8 wins, but king f7 doesn't. I somehow doubt that matters. It is interesting that Ochotnik would play king f8 rather than king f7. Because some, like, if the knight comes out, what's the difference? What do you mean king f7 takes the knight with the king? They both take the knight with the king. The difference is going to be like when white goes to h5 or whatever. He's going to take it, and then white's going to take with the queen on check. So Ochotnik like knows what he's doing. Now knight h5, g takes h5, queen takes h5. And black's up a piece. I'll take Ochotnik for $500. I mean, the white player only has 2 pawns for a piece here. So this is a new move. Knight d5. Positional piece sacrifice. So now you take, and you're up a piece. And now the question is, what do we do? That's a very fine knight on e6 there. But we have c6 to try to undermine it. It's not going to happen too fast. There's another interesting idea, like theoretically. You could play knight c6 in some positions, but not this one. Blobix, do you know Ochotnik? No? Of course, bishop f6. What are our choices? Bishop f6, king f7. Bishop h6. if you play bishop f6, you can't move your knight anywhere. None of the options look great. Can we just double check bishop takes d5 is forced? What do you guys think about like 3 pieces for the queen? Just for kicks and giggles. Hey, look, 3 pieces for the queen. You guys don't like this? No problem whatsoever. Material equality. No, not quite. I don't really trust that. No, but seriously, I mean, there might be another option. I don't know about c6. Where's my perk alert? Pierce alert. Alexander Chernin just like disappeared. Like, how are you like a 2600 chess player and you disappear? All right, bishop f6. Well, I like c6. c4. b5 is not on. So here, white is threatening like g4, g5 or something. No, it wasn't Perelstein, though he might have been part of some kind of rewrite. It was Lev Albert, man, the other snake oil salesman. He's a far-right Republican, Russian, living in America with U.S. citizenship. Alright, c4, c takes d5, but what about not releasing the tension? We're kind of short of options. Queen b7, I was going to suggest queen b7, that's not going to work. Man, we can't get rid of this. This is a scary situation. How about queen c8? Actually, queen b7 is not so stupid, because we could play here, try to unplug the knight with knight d7, knight f8. But I'm afraid we're going to get blasted by g4. Oh, this actually works in this diagonal as well. That's actually quite useful. So after c4, queen b7, you have several plans. Yeah, of course queen f3 is going to be main idea. Let's say takes, knight d7. We also have this. But if we can get rid of the knight, we're out of the woods. Yeah, g4, knight f8, knight f8, king f8, g5. And it may come down to black having to like give back the piece, you know. But that's what made me think of Pirk Alert book. In the Pirk Alert book, there's tons of lines in there where like Chernin recommends I mean, it's very sharp lines in the Pirks with the c5, the knight a6 and c5 variations that get crazy, and like this is a typical example of where maybe you have to give back the piece to just stay alive. You know, that's all there is to it. I mean, rook c8, pawn takes pawn, knight takes. Who's better here? Maybe black's better. You know? Now white's all over the place. Look at his structure. He's like mangled. So, but you're gonna have to play very accurately. All right. So c takes d5, c takes d5, and now you did this. That's a nice move. That was one of the other ideas we discussed of coming d8. You know, it makes me wonder. Speaking of queen f3, there's no time. Yeah. No time. He has to take back. Knight c6 is a good move. We're going with there. Right. What about the c file? Is this a problem? Well, again, you have a really nice move. Rook c8. So it looks pretty good. Knight c6. And then rook a3. You gotta give away credit. That's a nice move. He has the other rook, though. Like, which rook do you lift? How do you choose? Well, I guess he's figuring on castling kingside, possibly. So rook a3 also gets off this diagonal. Rook a3 is useful. And then knight b4. Knight b4 is not what I wanted to do here. I mean, knight b4 might be good. If you can guarantee, like, pick this off. But I think this should be considered. Because you can, like, unplug that knight immediately. Still, black is cramped. But if I had no time, I would probably play knight d8 first. Can you resign here? You can resign wherever you like. I have a problem though with lichess, right? I was playing on my Smurf account yesterday, and it happened again. Every single time, once every like 2 weeks, I lose a game where I lose like 50 rating points, and neither side made a move. I'm terrified to write into like the forum on lichess to complain about it, but I'm sorry you can't lose rating points, or you shouldn't lose rating points in chess games if no moves were made. The game didn't even start, technically, so I think that's really dumb, and it causes rating inflation. It's just stupid. It's stupid. Like, speaking of, can you resign here? I'm sorry. It's like, why? It's no different to a default. What do you mean? Over the board default is you don't lose any rating points. If you default in over the board chess, you do not lose rating points. No. Arsenal, you don't. Oh, default. Well, if you started the game and then you default, like your phone rings, dude. I'm talking about like if you haven't made a move yet, you don't. You know. I'm talking about before you've made a move, before you've made your first move. This is what I'm talking about. If your opponent no shows, dude, you can't lose rating points if you didn't play the game. It's 1FOF, of course. You can't lose rating points if you didn't show up, bro. That doesn't work like that. That's why it's 1FOF on the score sheet. I don't understand how on lichess they like make me lose 50 points if I forfeit the game. I get it if I made a move and then I ran out of time, but you know, honestly, I forgot to continue the tournament and I didn't make any moves. They need to change that. I mean, that's stupid. You know. I mean, I'm sure that someone has written this. I'm sure that someone's written this in the forums complaining about it. They're like, oh, who cares? You know, whatever. It's just lichess. But I mean, no, some random players getting like 50 rating points for nothing. I agree. It's also weird if your phone rings that other players going to get the rating points too, but it doesn't behoove anyone, you know, to make the already like dubious rating system more unstable. Anyway, a little bit of a sidebar. Queen b3. Castle. But Shaki's talking about resigning. I don't think it's that simple, is it? I don't think anybody should be resigning with a knight on e6. Man, he picked off an exchange, though. I don't know, does that tell us, like, maybe we should have gone with the other rook? Then castling's not possible. We can always just put the king on f1. Why do we have to lift the rook anyway? I praise that move, but maybe it's just kind of fancy. I think we should go with the immediate g4, no? Yeah, why? They like to make people suffer for nothing. Why not g4? But we should have a protest. I mean, if this is really a French site, I'm gonna like do a yellow vest stream or something, protesting the rating of games where I haven't made any moves, you know. Okay, g4, g4 knight b4, g5, knight takes d5. Yeah, this is hanging. White is screwed. It's too slow. So after g4, knight b4, you have to defend somehow. There is no point. Looks like white's is coming unglued. It's not going to hold together. This is too much material. Now we're up a whole rook. h5. He just snapped another pawn. It's nice to have a square to move our knight to. I'll take it. And then we're going to play h5. You played g5. What about h5? I mean, you have to watch your g6, but you can protect that pretty easily. I imagine it's over. They saw I was in front of my screen. It's ridiculous. I forgot it was in another tab. Oof, that's really entrenched now. Finally h5. Yeah, but this should be winning now. I hope. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get kicked back to e8? Yikes. His f5 pawn's hanging, but what about rook b7? Oh shit, you have rook a8? It doesn't work. What are we gonna do? You have to play this. It's not that bad. It's okay. White's lost. Yeah, it looks like white's lost, objectively. I mean, he had compensation, but not for like a whole rook. A whole rook was too much. Now you just take on d8. Exactly. It's like you can coordinate your h6 rook. The d4. Nice. Alright. No, it was interesting though. What was the computer evaluation after knight d5? Interesting. The best move. It's funny, you have two masters who failed to find knight d5 here. In over the board chess. And this is the best move. Bishop d5 was best. Here you had an alternative, but bishop f6 was best. And then h4 a mistake according to the computer. Here he played too quickly, it looks like. You know, that h4 never really did anything, actually. It got his rook in the game, potentially. That's really cool. So the best move was g4, knight c6, g5, like an improved version of the other line we were looking at. g4 would have been better. So this variation is actually still interesting. Okay. Tezek. It's funny, another Turkish player from our stream was posting streams on the Discord channel. Govin Kurt, he was living here in Budapest, but he was streaming like Warcraft or something. He was putting his stream on my Discord channel. Quite a few Turks here in Hungary. A lot of Turkish buffets. Yeah, Tezik, why don't you move to Hungary? We have a great life here. The highest inflation rate in Europe. It'll remind you a lot about. You'll feel like very at home. You know, the economic situation will be very, very similar to Turkey. Really high inflation. A dictator. You feel just like at home, just a softer version of home. Alright. Yeah, I don't understand how the forint stays so strong. Despite the fact that economically, I just don't understand how they keep propping up the forint. It's extremely strong. In fact, a lot of foreign investors are like buying forints now. It's been performing so well. I just don't understand it. Alright, this is Tezek with white. E4, E5, knight f3, knight f6, the Petrov, knight takes. So they played the crap gambit. The Eric Rosen garbage. Nefedov's from Staffordshire. Nobody like, you know, swat him or anything. But he was joking that he doesn't play the Stafford Gambit, even though he's living in Staffordshire. Apparently the Stafford Gambit doesn't come from Staffordshire. It's somebody's name. It's a stupid gambit anyway, named after some random guy who's probably not even a strong player. It's a Wikipedia opening name, again. So Arsenal fan recommending take, knight c3, bishop c5, h3, queen h4, queen f3 resigns. I'm personally like, I like to mess with them with d4. But if you play d4, they can transfer to the Afromeyev variation with queen e7, which is only plus, this is only like +1 for white or something. So, but I like to do this to the Stafford Gambit players, although I don't rarely face it. You know, I do rarely face it. Obviously at the lower rating levels, people will believe anything they read on YouTube. I mean, I think d4 just simplifies the situation, you know. There are some other weirder lines, but probably black's best objectively is to transpose to the Afromeyev. Okay, but here you have to know what you're doing. You know, black has a little bit of compensation. Take, and now, I mean, d3 is kind of the main line. I'm trying to remember something now. Someone at Sound had mentioned something here. Bishop c5, bishop e2. And then, now normally you get the fishing pole. It's either knight g4 or h5. f3. Ah. Well, that's like a mirror image variation. That other gambit, you know, that's played in the pawn fork variation of the two knights. This is just traps, you know, it's just bad for black. But castles is really bad. I mean, then you have no dynamism whatsoever. Like these trappy lines, like h5 and stuff. I mean, at least there's some tricks and whatnot. I had somebody I was teaching have this game. Queen f3. No? What's the problem here? I mean, there's a game here where white played g3, but why do you have to do that? Like, what's wrong with queen f3? And then after bishop takes g4, queen g3? Would you like to trade queens, sir? So black's only move is queen h5, right? There was a nice trap, like h3, bishop d1, knight c3. That's a subtle threat, by the way. Bishop takes c2, king d2. Winning the bishop at c2. Delicious. I think that looks pretty juicy. Looks like a clean refutation. So castles, c3. Bishop takes d3, king d3, rook d8. Swindle chances? Oh shit. Bishop d3. Right. Not queen d3. Yeah, no, you still got some swindling chances. Maybe castles queenside, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, in a blitz or rapid game. Definitely. Okay, let's see what Tezik did. So bishop e2, castles is bad. Yeah, at least if you're going to play the Stafford Gambit, I mean, know that you're supposed to do h5 there. So c3 is pretty strong. And he has nothing. Yeah, you can just play d4. But although I think that, you know, here in this type of position, they just played bishop e6. I mean, this has no real plan. Like, objectively, what should black play in this position after c3? Shouldn't black not play bishop e6, but bishop b6? After bishop e6, at least he can try to play... Yeah. You don't want to get hit by tempo, and you can at least put something on the e-file. Right, to pressure e4 so white can't play d4. Yeah, white might have to do some kind of ICTs type of idea of like f3 to secure the e4 pawn to be able to play d4 eventually. That's basically what Someone on Sound does, kind of like later on down the line. You could castle though. I mean, I think this is pretty safe. But this is really bad because it just allows you to play d4. Now what, like knight d2? How do we protect the pawn on e4? You played bishop g5. Well, I think this is a serious question. Maybe white needs to consider all of the options here, including, and not limited to, f3. No, I think we should take it seriously, but I would never recommend anyone to play this opening for black. Unless we're talking about like unrated players in their first tournament, who just need to learn something quick or something. I mean, that's about the only reason I would ever recommend this opening for black. If you have to teach someone how to play chess in 5 minutes and look like they know what they're doing or something. Bishop g5 though. Well, what are you gonna do if he plays h6 and bishop h4 g5? f3 has to be considered. Obviously, if c5, we have both bishop e3. What would Ding Liren do? Can you guys believe that Ding Liren and the Pomniachtchi finished like next to last and next to last in that tournament in Belgrade or Romania? Jesus Christ, that's embarrassing. It looks so stupid. It just goes to show how random the qualification system for the World Championship really is. Of course they're exhausted, but still. When was the last time Magnus Carlsen finished like next to last in a tournament? No, in all seriousness. When did Magnus ever finish like 9th or 8th out of 10? Even when he was exhausted or something like that. It's just like, come on. World Championship like caliber players finish in like the middle of the cross table sometimes when they're having a bad week. They don't finish in like the bottom 2 or 3. Anyway, this is possible. I'm not sure about bishop g5. I don't want to have to make this exchange. You played bishop takes f6, queen f6, and now you had to make a concession. I will say that black has some compensation now. The dark squares, I would rather we didn't give him that bishop. This is obviously bad, though. If anything, probably queen h4. I mean, he has to be prepared to play like c5 or f5 and try to attack your center. g5, actually, is probably horrible, but yeah, this is bad too. I mean, I wouldn't want to play black against a computer. I don't know what to recommend, but I don't know if I like queen g5. He's like begging you to play f4. I don't think that's a good idea. Knight d2 is still pleasant. But we are going to drop the exchange. Not even. We get a little tied up if we allow bishop h3. Yeah. We're just a little tied up. But you have knight d2, knight c4, eliminating that bishop on b6. Yeah, it's okay. I got to admit, it's very tempting to play this, though. It would be hard for me to resist doing that. I'm sure that white is winning here. But I can understand being constrained. Now c5 is a good try, at least, to liberate his position. d5. And now our only problem is the dark squares. We're good, but we have to be careful about those dark squares. If this bishop comes back and we get something here, fully abandoning the dark squares. But I think this is probably unnecessary. Like Arsenal suggested, it's probably better to play like knight d2. Get developed. Never forget about, the Alamo. I mean, never forget development. I don't really like c4, but I get it. You want to bring your knight here, but you're going to pay a price on the dark squares. So Tezik, you have to think in terms of color complex. Your knight would have been on a better square, but at the same time you're giving him, for example, bishop a5. You're better off, you're better off not doing that. You have not enough dark square control as it is. And it's like a Trompowsky. Your position is basically like a Trompowsky, where you didn't play c4, and the fact that you have c3 pawn is actually beneficial, because you're controlling some dark squares. Rook c8 is kind of weird. Now trading queens is great, if you can get it. And here's a golden opportunity to play e5, possibly, but I don't know if we can we support it? Rook e1, queen f4. If we can get in e5, it might be good. This is also interesting. You're trying pretty hard to trade queens, and you got it. That definitely reduces the danger here. But as I said, I mean, maybe bishop a5, maybe bishop back here. Black can still have some chances. I think, this may be problematic, but we want to look at e5. Well, I mean, trading queens is a good idea when you're up material. Yeah, I'm glad that you finally, had the courage to do this. Because it seemed to me like, until now, you've been, reluctant to play e5 for a reason. Because that pawn could be, overextended or whatnot. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, he can only do, rook e8, and you can protect it with your rook. If he tries to play, bishop c7, you're pushing. So don't be afraid. And e5 helps you control the dark squares, where you actually need your pawns to be surrogate bishops. This actually goes the other direction. It's a good thing you have another pawn to do like g3 and f4. I don't know that g4 is that useful. This is a good exchange, and now you're clearly winning. I would say, at this moment, maybe g4 wasn't a bad move because this is the plan. At this point, I would say white has a winning position, clearly. So long as there's no way that black can undermine that center, it's over. No, I don't think he's a better player than you. You're taking, and that's really bad. And now these are just two clear connectors. f4 can be supported by g3, by the way. Exactly. And you've played some good games against me on occasion, Tezek. This is beautiful. Beautiful play with the center. Obviously winning. This is a bad move, though. I don't think you should commit. If anything, you want to keep the pawns fluid. This is a bad move. e6. It's not that bad. You're probably still winning, but why? I guess you were concerned about like g5 or something. You could have played rook here, maybe. Now he's got a blockade, but he would be better off probably playing this. Maybe trying to blockade with his bishop or something. Rooks are the best blockaders, right? Rooks are not the best blockaders. Rooks are not ideal. They're like a step above queens. Yeah, he's walking right into knight e4. It would be better to play bishop b8. He just doesn't do anything to prevent it. I mean, the only chance is like rook b6 to try to create some kind of complication and get the bishop back to b8. You should probably just give him the pawn. Just break through, check, whatever, forget about it. I mean, these are winning. Don't get distracted from the focus. f5, b5, but it's over now. This is over. That's like overkill. Again, an awkward move, but it's good enough. Yeah, actually e7's fine. You're playing f7. Yeah. Don't allow him any chances here. Nah. No chance. Overall, a good game. Very businesslike. Hope you're not going to lose on time. Alright, good game. Alright guys, how are we doing on time? It's kind of late. I got to move a little faster. We got Morales versus Uber Driver. Uber Driver was here earlier. He was here earlier. Hasn't been around much. I do appreciate the donations. 500 bits from Uber Driver, 100 from Anonymous, and a couple of gift subs tonight. It's been a really slow night, and not slow night, but slow month financially, so I might have to start like an OnlyFans page or something. Mr. Coffee would be excited. Me, not so much. So I'm going to try to get back in shape, to start my OnlyFans. Alright, the main event. I'm a little chunky right now, so I need to lose some pounds before we open the OnlyFans account. Before the main event comes Morales Uber Driver. And the classic Vienna. I'm trying to remember. Isn't this like bad? This is okay for white? I guess as long as you don't play something stupid like f4. But how are you handling like d5 here? White has a plus score with 92. Wow. You think like black would be okay though after d5. I don't like bishop g5 that much. Obviously knight f3 is just like Spanish in reverse. Apparently bishop d2, that's also reverse Spanish. That's certainly not dangerous for black, I would say. I can't believe that's really dangerous. I mean, I don't know. Well, this isn't really dangerous either. By the way, why doesn't Uber Driver play the knight a5? I mean, knight a5 is the main line. I think the main problem is getting out of the way of the, you know, the c6 pawn and stuff. This line has a better score. Bronstein liked it. Okay, it's not easy to handle though. Obviously, like bishop c5 is a move too. Now you can play f4. Okay, so knight e2, d5 takes, knight takes d5, castles, and now, you know, I mean, it looks like a reverse Spanish. Black has several different options. I mean, knight takes knight, bishop takes knight, or even like a knight retreat, right? Wow, you can even keep the tension. I never thought about it. It's kind of like a weird scotch. Well, that's weird. Of course, the bishop would never be on like b4 in the scotch. Or b5. Has scotch-like feel. So bishop e6 is possible, and that's what he played. Keeping the tension. But like Ancient Aliens, you have to ask yourself, like, what is this bishop doing on b4? I feel like this is tempting. It's really tempting. But at the end of the day, like, Morales has the bishop pair. It's just like free bishop pair. This pawn is also tender. Tender pawn. Tenderloin. Tenderloin, sorry. Cooking dinner tomorrow. I'm getting ahead of myself. Not gonna boil, not gonna fry steak arsenal. Alright, bishop e6, bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, and then f4. And we're in heavy duty theory here. Lots of high rated players already represented here. Christensen Kaidanov, US Senior Championship. Well, that's interesting. Larry's like got like destroyed by Kaidanov like the year before in 2020 or 2019, whatever. I guess 2019. So he was like super careful. Kaidanov has his number, so I think I saw this game. He just kind of like played super safe. F4 is main line. Castles. Damn. I hate allowing like f5. This makes sense for Morales too, as a close Sicilian player. I hate f6. People play that. Taking on f4. Queen d7 looks kind of interesting. Can I castle queenside? One player took on f4. And then took here. Looks like white is a little better. Now, Andy Soltis had a lot of gains to Vienna. Man. Yeah, I don't know. What is black supposed to do here? Knight takes c3. Maybe that's the magic move. Okay, knight takes c3 makes sense. Now what do we do? Take with the pawn. And we go back to good old bishop d6. This is the anti-Morales variation. Any Gawain Jones games? Not exactly a premium list of Grandmasters with white except for Artemiev. Jarabuk, that's an old game from 2009. Looks solid, but is white really better here? I have to ask, you know. I guess I'm going to go with this variation. Bob. Let's just take, allow b takes, bring it back to d6, be a turkey or whatever. Here. Like, there's no f4, is there? There is f4. This guy who won the World Junior, Stembuliak, played that. And nunchucks. f4, how bad is f4? Okay, it's playable. So even f4 is playable. It's like equal. Wow, bishop d5 TN from the engine. Look at that move. I don't think so. That's pretty subtle. Dude, look at that. Bishop d5 driving the knight back to e7 just to subtly go back to b3. Anyway, I recommend this. This seems more solid Uber Driver than what you played. This looks a little scary to me. Okay. So f5, bishop takes c3. And then f6. Uber Driver really knows his stuff. He's following Andreykin. Andreykin's win against Rapport. Oh, you're also playing like Turzo. Turzo against Gari's friend from 2007. I think I played in that tournament. It was like Gari, this other guy, Arjun, Turzo, me. I rarely played in IM tournaments in 2007. I think I beat Turzo in at least one of the games. I think I probably won one and lost one. Alright. Knight g3. Rook e8. Is it weird that you're... No, it's not weird that you're attracted to b5. Do you prefer dark-haired women? Or blondes? It's not weird. I think it's controversial. I mean, on the one hand, like, b6 would be better for you structurally. But on the other hand, b5 prevents white from playing c4 and using his pawns like that. I think they're just two different ways to play chess. b5 is definitely way riskier. It's the number one move, but... I mean, you don't have to play b6, but if there's rook b1 or something, are you going to put the pawn on b5 or b6? But you're in danger of getting attacked here. It's a classic kind of build-up. I'm not sure what... This is what Turzo... Our second Turzo game with black. This is what Turzo played against Arjun, but I'm not sure what rook e8 really does. What's the point of rook e8? Okay. What's the point of any move? What's the point of 97? I don't know. What are we supposed to play here with black? b5 is not ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, is e4 really a threat, though? Can we call this a threat? It seems like pretty strange to call that a threat, man. I mean, White's sitting there with c4 in his back pocket. I don't get it, you know. I don't really understand what it does. I don't think, like, it's even a threat. It's just like a routine move that doesn't really do anything. I'd rather play Arsenal's, like, weird b5. Because here maybe we have some sort of forward plan. Even then I don't know. Actually, what is Black's forward plan? It was played by two GMs, though. Neither player has any threats. Yeah, not immediately. So, these guys played Queen G4, which makes a lot of sense. Very subtle. But Rook B1 should be considered. I mean, I'd really like to get the Rook into the game somehow and prevent that B5. Play A3 or A4 if necessary. You know, even if Black takes the pawn on A2, just be careful his bishop doesn't get trapped. Okay, C4 is committal, though. No, I think White's better. We have more space. It's an opposite color bishop situation. Do we have E4? Speaking of E4. Uber driver would never do this. That would require mucho calculazione. And I'm not sure it's even good, but it might work. There's a problem, apparently. Knight e4, bishop c4, queen g4. With, like, a standard kind of attack on the king side, I guess. But it's something you gotta look for. I don't know. A6, he wants to play b5, okay. Maybe a4, yep. Queen d7. Looks logical to me. But Black has drifted into a slightly passive position here. You know, give White a little more time and you're going to get in serious trouble. So what did Uber Driver do? He basically lingered. He lingered a little too long without any real active play. And now Morales is all over him like a bad suit. But why? Ooh, why do we have to do that? Oh my god. So Rook H3. There's just nothing there. We just don't really have an attack there. So after 94, he had to back up, and White's at a standstill. There's maybe a sack on F6. Yeah, that's a weird idea. Arsenal, that's a nice idea, yeah. Rook H3. Bishop G6, Queen G6. Okay. It would work if it wasn't for the fact that our king is on H8. Uber Driver loses this game in like 10 moves. But I mean, the only thing that scares me is this. You know, some kind of sack on F6. If we can play like Queen H4 and knight takes F6, there could be serious problems. So he's just like da 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 da, and then Morales plays C3. But is this really that big of a deal? Shouldn't White be pursuing like active threats? Do we have anything here like Queen H4? Queen H4 threatening knight takes F6. Yeah, there's also Bishop H6, exactly. It's like a free roll on the dark squares. Alright, so there's some kind of idea behind his move c3. I mean, this is bad for white, like, positionally. Because now our pawn structure is messed up. But he got Uberdriver to put his knight on b3. So what about knight c2? Then you get pinned. I mean, well, needless to say, like, queen a4 was a very greedy move by Uberdriver. And now queen h4. Uh-huh. Clearly knight takes f6 is, like, crushing. And now black can't play queen c6. It's a standard, like, kingside build-up attack. Uberdriver's just... Uberdriver's playing like a computer from the 80s, basically. He didn't see over the horizon. Everything was fine till it wasn't. This looks tough to meet, though. This is some tough meat. Damn, dude. Like, what do you play here? There's no move. Look, come on, no moves. Phew. I just resigned in this position. Bishop g8. It's not gonna last long. Because I've got this and this. Oh, you don't have rook. Okay, you're right. Maybe we do have this. Okay. It takes too long to play rook f3. It doesn't look good, though. We can't take on f6. It's mate in one. So what else can black do? Any suggestions? Dude, I mean, seriously, it's ops-colored bishops, and how are you going to protect the dark squares? Even if Morales just plays like knight takes g8 and f6, it's over. Oh, rook g8. Well, it's over. Whatever, it's over. Rook g8. Seriously? I love this move, rook f3. Subtle. Subtle. There's really no side effect or downside of rook g8 whatsoever. Nothing bad could possibly happen here. g6, snizzle. Is that your ass sizzling? Snizzle snake. Actually g5. Speaking of puzzle snakes. Arsenal, have you seen any good mirages lately? Alright, next game. Ars, the main event. Oh no, I just got a position. Oh no. I missaved it. I got Arsenal saved to the contacts. Oh well. Sorry. If I saved it wrong, that's it. You lose your rating points. Get PGN. All right. Copy. I thought I already did this. Ooh. Ooh. Now we're definitely closing the stream down. Man, I'm all flustered. Getting all flustered, guys. Fluster buster. This is just driving me crazy. Hello. Guys, I gotta speed up, so we're just gonna spend 2 or 3 minutes on Arsenal's game and then move on to the others. Dude, what am I doing now? I missed the window again? Add a new chapter. Okay. I just need to paste it. It's cool. I remembered where I was. Okay. My dementia's not that bad. Woodward. Oh, the Woodward. Didn't he write some books about the White House or something? Is he he's the oh, what was the Nixon scandal? The Watergate guy. He's like 90 years old. Tim Woodward. Arsenal's playing the guy from Watergate. Alright. E4, E5, knight f3. This is one of his best games from this weekend's tournament. When do you start streaming on Fridays? Assuming I'm still alive. Am I still in the wrong window? God damn it. How did that happen? Wow, that sucks. Why is it on the wrong window? I switched them? Oh. Alright, hold on. You guys already see this stream. Sorry. Friday's stream, 11:30 Central European Time. Sorry. Alright, now you see what I'm talking about. Richard Swift versus Mr. Woodward. You are white. B5. And then another D6. Nobody wants to play the Marshal because it's good. I don't like the Marshal either. It takes the tension out of the game. Alright, D4, E takes D. Huh? Okay. Oh, you played D4 right away. Oh shit, you threw me. Oh, Arsenal with a secret prep. You busted him with the D4 immediately. I was like, what's going on here? Okay. Yeah, most people play Bishop G4. And that's a really interesting line. And after that, there's two continuations you can play. Both Bishop E3 and D5 are interesting. I don't remember if we've ever had a game in that. But this is not very common. If the top game is like Kamsky Lenderman 2006, it's probably not good. I wonder if I played in Foxwoods in 2006 and I played Gata in the same tournament. I can't remember if I played Gata in 2006 or 2007. You see, Gata had quit for a long time and then came back. And that's the thing that's weird about that particular date. But this must be a bad line for black. I mean, it doesn't make sense just like give up your center for nothing. Guldur-Kand. This is a weird move from black. White can just do knight takes d4. White can do knight takes d4, but it's more interesting to do pawn takes d4 and have a big center. Knight takes d4 is not as promising. As you can see, only 1 in 67 players played knight takes d4. So the point is to play some kind of hyper-modern approach where black gives up his strong point, but it looks like it's insufficient. I guess Slenderman wasn't that strong back then in 2006, and he was trying to, or just didn't know the line, or he was trying to play something to throw Gata off, but you know, you're not going to last long here. So d5 is definitely a move. The other move, the obvious move, is Bishop G4. This looks like a good variation for white. You know, this is just some kind of weak variation by black so far. And now, very unusual move, bishop b7. Okay. But it's not that easy, you know. I mean, you have a big center, you have the advantage, but how are you gonna punish black here? The first move I thought of is a3. Does that seem weird? a3 with the idea of knight a5, bishop c2, or bishop a2. You have lots of interesting moves, actually. Bishop d2. Interesting and weird. You know, the standard move you played here, Arsenal, knight d2, but you can also put your knight on c3. a3 you didn't like b4. Really? I don't... I'm surprised you even looked at a3, but it's not exactly you know, necessary. Just something I'm throwing out there. I mean, this is a possibility. This is very tempting. But I mean, will the knight be, you know, attacked? Your move is definitely okay, but it feels a tiny bit on the routine side. So in fact, you did transpose to something else. You've transposed to a line where black plays like the Zaitsev without h3. Uh-huh. So I would be interested to know if white has something better here. Gulderkand, you know what? Your move deserves consideration. He said, simply here I would play d5, prevent d5 by black. Not a bad idea. It closes both sides' bishops. But I think this is probably not a bad move. I'm not sure it's the best move. And obviously black can go here. You know, and then you have to evaluate this. This looks pretty good for white. I'm not that confident. I think you are better here. d5 is definitely possible. This is a tough position because you have like 8 candidate moves here. I mean, I think this looks good. And if he goes knight a5, we go back to c2. I guess this was concerning me a little. I didn't really like, yeah, I didn't like this. I wasn't sure about this. But I mean, there's some crazy complications. I mean, if here, this diagonal, you got the Acer mate with the knight on a5, but probably there's nothing there. Close but no cigar. Why doesn't black have b4 here? Knight a4 is good for white. Wow. That's pretty subtle. Because it does seem like, oh, how is my knight going to get back in the game? This is not easy to judge, I think. So, alright, knight d2, you transpose back into something. Knight a5, bishop c2, and now black is supposed to play c5, which is very normal. He wants to play c5, that's why he moved the knight. What else can you do? First he threw this in there. Of course, anybody remember b4 earlier today? That's a possibility here, interestingly enough. b4, would you go here or would you go here? For example, like knight c6, rook b1. Maybe. Definitely playable. There's one game with b3, which will allow c5, and it's a kind of normal position where white is better. White is definitely better here. This is a beautiful center. Knight e5 here, rook e8 is slow, b3, and now Interestingly, you played b3? Wait, the database says b3. The game just disappears. Black must have resigned after b3. That's pretty crazy. Obviously, black has to play for c5, but then d5. Well, that's a problem. Yeah, black's setup just doesn't seem to work. Alright, I guess he doesn't have to rush. But now you might have bishop c3 in some positions. Oh. He went back unprovoked without ever executing c5. I mean, clearly, like, he has to try this. I suppose he was afraid of d5 and didn't know what he was going to do with his knight. I can't imagine what else black would do, though. You're going to play e5. Well, I mean, everything's possible. I think you should have an everything burger and just sit down and relax. But what really bothers me for black is, like, where is his knight going? What's he going to do? Like, bring his knight back to b7? You know? You need to consider all your possibilities there. Just keeping the tension is an option, too. But I like d5. But this is crazy. He just went back, so what was the point of knight a5? Rook c1, good move. Yeah. And now you broke with e5. If it's good, it's good. You know, you do have to worry about this, possibly. That is, like, mildly annoying. It's very drawish. Yeah, absolutely, Asterbait. I'm not sure what to do here. White clearly has a nearly winning position. So apparently knight d5 was best. I like how it shows how your advantage increased double after d takes e5. Clearly, the center is better. I don't want to trade queens. But this is a serious problem. Ugh. Can he play rook e6? Damn. You have knight d4 there. Like, for example, here. Bishop e4 is just very strong. I mean, black is in deep shit now. He practically has to do this. Yeah, you're just dominating the center. Look at the center. That's all you need to know. Okay, he can maybe play c5, and I don't really want to trade queens. We need some attacking chances. The diagonal, some e6 in the right moment to fracture his king side. I would definitely be reluctant to trade queens. But I see he has this. Yeah, man. I mean, I would like tank all my time here, looking for the right move. He also has the other knight that could come to c5 and d3. I really, damn, I don't really want to trade queens, but I understand you're still better. You stopped any kind of knight coming into d3. Unfortunately, I think you only have a small edge. Like +1. He's kind of threatening to hang in there. You played g3 and got a dubious word from the computer, but it looks like the most logical move. What else are you going to play? Like king f1? Bishop d4. Wow, that's a tough move to find. I like g3. What's he gonna do? Trade everything? Yep. I wish you could get this break in like a Berlin, you know? How e6 is always... I know that the rook's hanging, but you know how in the Berlin, like e6 breaking that blockade is always so strong. I think you must have had e6 at some point. Yeah, this is good. He should play c5. He finally played, you know, a good move. That was his first good move in like a long time. Now it looks genuinely like frustrating. But I think you still have e6 stuff. Yeah, like you're talking about. This sort of stuff with here, here, and here. Jeez, dude, you're gonna like mate him with knight g4. Almost. This looks really scary for black. I guess he could just about negate your threats. But I'd be very surprised if there was something better than bishop a3. This is not bad, I guess. b4 is horrible. Can he hang on with like rook c8? Damn, are you just gonna take and play b4? That's brutal. I think you can take here. Oh no, you can't, because the bishop takes and bishop takes f2. You need to have your king on g2. Yeah, maybe you should just like make a waiting move. Or even king f1. But you're threatening bishop takes c5 then, in some positions. Maybe. b4 is awful. You have a beautiful square here. I think he's slightly worse now. Now you can grind him. Slowly improving. I think you need to get your king in the center. You didn't improve your king. You're doing like a Mr. Coffee. He's totally under control now. So I think king f1, king e2, king e3, f4. You know, there's like a tactic here or something. But like even knight f6 check is possible. I would just slowly improve my position with king f1. Peter says rook f1. Yeah, rook f1's pretty tough, dude. King f1's up there, but f4 is my number one move. I would have played king f1. Arsenal was a bit impatient here. Obviously black doesn't have to take that. I mean, what's the point? He can play like rook d7, and you have another knight coming to f6. Maybe he can hang on with like rook d7. Whew, this is ugly though. I mean, this is like over. He can't do knight d6, can he? Wow. He can do this and then allow you knight f6 check. Damn, I didn't think he could do that. So this is actually not that bad for black. He gives you the pawn back and hangs on. I still don't like black's position here. So knight d6 is best move. Take the pawn, and then here, and now, wow. So he has rook d7, rook d1. But how does he defend? You're just winning, aren't you? Oh, now he has knight d4. There's no defense. No, but then you're threatening this. Are you telling me the defense is like this, this, and this? Shit. Oh, that's so stupid. So that's how you didn't win. Or you did win this game. I was thinking in the game we played today. Here, here. Okay, so he can hang on with that. And he plays this instead. But why is this so bad? Oh, he's hanging a rook. Other than that, it's great. He just dropped a piece with knight d4. That's funny. Dude, you just hung a piece. Is this a problem? Bishop d8, knight check, king f1, knight takes c1. I don't know. Knight takes a2. It should be. We should have things under control, right? Yeah, I hate being up a piece. It sucks. Arsenal was worried about this pawn, the pawns falling. He's probably winning, I mean, objectively. But you got to be a little bit careful, and I hope you brushed up on your bishop and knight checkmate. So you got something better? Seemed unnecessary. It just seemed unnecessary. That's true. It seems unnecessary. Clear enough. Very nice. It was unnecessary. Yeah, why take any risks? That was a cute little finishing touch. And then a technical win. You know, Arsenal, what was funny, like you said recently, that your colleagues, your peers know the openings better than you, but like this case was the exact opposite. Like this guy really didn't know what he was doing on the black side of the Lopez in that main line. I mean, I don't think that's even like a variation objectively. So I think you're actually ahead of him at least. But I mean, maybe the average players are better than you in the opening. I don't know. This wasn't a bad game. I really wonder about trading queens though. When you traded queens, I want to know if it's right to trade queens or not. Because theoretically, I mean, with this guy facing this diagonal, a pawn on e5, and his knight splayed out all over the place, I realize there is a problem with the d3 square. But if there was a way to avoid trading queens here, I would really like to avoid trading queens. No. You played the absolute best move. Interestingly, e6 is possible. So you played the safer move, and it was the best move according to the engine. But interestingly, e6 is possible, very sharp, and queen c2, avoiding the exchange of queens. Now, if knight c5, you have to find this. And on the knight e6, you have to find bishop e3, so you have to do a little dancing. It looks like an open Lopez, actually. This is an open Lopez structure. Yeah, queen c2, c5. Queen c2, c5. What about that? Now, apparently this is even stronger. No. You're killing him there. Yeah. Alright, no, good job. So guys, I gotta go through the rest of the games quickly. Fortunately, we don't have too many. Astrobate and Anon versus Anon. Astrobate and Icy. Whatever happened to move 11? He didn't submit a game for today. Samote. Open Lopez, hopefully. Astrobate is black against b3. Cool. So that's a problematic move for Astrobate, who likes to play g6. g6. Hey, sir, didn't you play that before, though? You've done this, probably. This is actually fine. Guys, thanks for your support. We had gift subs, 2 gift subs today for Move 11. And, Goju? Actually, Goju didn't submit a game today. Is Goju still here? I guess he just didn't submit a game. It's fine. Alright. Hey, it's Miro. Neither. Knight f6, knight c3. So now this is like a hybrid. Closed Sicilian. No applause for king f1. It was a nice move, but I wanted immediate gratification. I applaud you for holding off. But I think the other ending was pretty much winning. Okay, now typically we see knight to d5, bishop g7. I've actually had games like this in Blitz. But Astrobate's opponent played h3. It's a little bit strange. I don't quite understand h3. But it's going to get worse before it gets better. You hear yes. Okay. Bishop g7, and then you're threatening knight takes e4. And your opponent played bishop e5. And so you decided to take it easy on him and not pick off his central pawn with knight takes e4. Astrobate was afraid of, I don't know, knight e4, bishop takes b2, queen e2, rook f8, and knight d6 mate, or something like that. He was like, no, I don't want any part of that. I'm not going to fall for that knight takes e4 trick. You're not going to get me with that truth shit, you know. No, I'm going to just, like, play the move in 0 seconds and just not win the central pawn. I mean, knight d4 is okay. I would imagine white would even have e5, maybe. But it's still not as good as knight takes e4. Astrobate, be concentrated on that enemy center. Your knight is attacking the central pawn on e4. You're playing on autopilot. Now, unfortunately, he misses it a lot, actually. Now we have knight takes e4 again, ironically, but it doesn't work. Knight e4, knight e4, d5, and bishop e5 check. It's funny. Does it work? Oh, that's even weirder. Does it work? Do we have king f8 here? So we're winning a piece anyway? Bishop takes d4. And then bishop takes d4, c3. White saves the day and doesn't lose material. And lives to tell the story. Up a piece. Yeah, Astrobate, you gotta be calculating, but that doesn't work. Alright. Knight takes e4 doesn't work. He would never do a flashy tactic like that. So d6, knight f3. And now you really should castle. Because the e4 pawn is under attack. And he can't do this, you know, without dropping his central pawn. I mean, I think that's a good deal. So here you're helping the opponent. I would think you're helping him develop his pieces. With queen takes f3. And now h3 actually makes sense. World Chess Championship. The World Water Closet Championship. Castles. And now e6. Okay, d3. You have bishop d7 here. Idea of bishop c6. If e5, bishop c6. Pawn takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. You can sack the queen again. Alright, so the game is knight d7, threatening the fork. But I'm actually surprised that Astrobate hasn't gone for that bishop on c4 yet. Preventing a6, b5. Alright. Everything so far so good, Astrobate, but the next move, we know that it's always bad to play queen a5, right? No, this is okay. I'll make an exception for queen a5 here. He has a concrete tactical idea to attack this knight on c3. And white misses knight d1, the only move. It was very difficult to find that, being the only move that doesn't lose a piece. He didn't find it and just dropped a piece. Easy game. And now he trades queens down a piece. No match for Asterbait. Just no match for Asterbait. G5. No. You're going to lose your D6 pawn here. Takes. Right. Rook takes. Rook D8. Very good. Now Rook D1. But H3 is hanging. Right? Now, you get tricky here with like Bishop G4. But I would think it would be safer to just play Knight C6. You're up a piece and an ending. It should be winning. Get the king close to the center. Watch this Rook D7. E5. And then a little bit dangerous here. Objectively. Because if white gets to the 7th and starts taking pawns, you could be in trouble. So you played Rook E6. But Rook E7 needs to be considered. This pawn might fall. You can protect here, bring the knight back, and I think you're winning. Now Rook D7. Ugh. Asterbait, you have to take, and then just surround this pawn. King F8 or Knight F6. Game over. You didn't trade rooks. Now it's a win. Just don't let his king get in here and start taking all your pawns. You have a protected passed pawn on H5. What's the thing? Is your king stuck? Is it like I've fallen and I can't get up? Alright guys. Don't forget to use the king. Yikes. That's a nice move. Now 2 protected pass pawns is better than 1. Very nice. The pants. Exactly, pants. Very nice. Now C3. Don't forget you got this one too. He was too excited to get the other queen. Nice job blockading that pawn with the queen. And mate. Alright. Last games. ICTs, and I got a quick submission from Goiju. OTB tournament. Von Henningshire Gambit. Von Henning. Copy. Can I go back? Hey, that works. Alright. I did it right this time. Thanks guys for joining me for this analysis stream. I do enjoy doing this. Mule Skinner subscribed to 59 months. Mule Skinner's been here my whole life. Mule Skinner, I noticed on lichess that your profile says Denmark again. Did you move back to Denmark from Spain? Are you back home again after all these years? Farm. Rating farmer. Anand versus Anand. This is icy hot. You had to switch flag to play in some Danish online event. Ah, tricky. Alright. This is icy hot, playing white. The Grand Prix attack. Favorite of Sunil Werepanti. F4, D6. It gives dubious. Oh. I mean, I think F4 is better if black plays D6, to be honest. I think that the Grand Prix attack is more justified in that circumstance. If white plays, or if black plays something slow like D6 or A6, then F4 is not as appropriate, is more appropriate But okay, it's still not that bad. Black's best line is either e6 is good and g6 is good, obviously. There are two problems with the Grand Prix attack. You know, this is probably even better than g6, honestly. Look at the statistics, they're close. g6 is a better score, but I don't know, man. e6 might even be better. It's close. But d6 justifies, you know, d6 is weird. Now it takes 2 moves to play e6 and d5, so, and it doesn't even make sense if you're like a Najdorf player, you're not playing this move order. Obviously knight f3 is the most flexible move for you. I don't think you have to commit to bishop c4 or bishop b5. You should probably play knight f3 first. I have this problem with acerbate a lot. Obviously bishop c4 is fine. It's definitely fine. But I still don't see why not to play knight f3 first. Oh, you can trick him into something? I don't know. Knight f3, bishop g7, and then you played a4. I'm just trying to remember a game I had. Oh, well, you've been hanging out with Eugene Perlstein again? He wrote some stupid book with the a4 crap. Mark Lyle played something like a4 against me a couple years ago. I can't remember if it was a4 or a3 now. But I think it makes more sense. Doesn't it make more sense if black plays like e6? I mean, because black's not even threatening like e6 and d5 here. It seems weird to play a4 so early. I think, you know, the question would be later. Here you don't need it at all. I mean, you know, in these variations, like this, 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 and then if here, then there's this, like, you know, weird lines people are playing with. Not people, but like Perlstein recommended that or some crap. But I don't know. Maybe it was even a4 right away. Maybe this was it? I don't remember. But anyway, here I think in this move, there's just no reason for you to play a4. It's just definitely not necessary. You should just play d3. Now he's threatening d5, so you have to support your center. Queen e1 is probably okay. Although I don't know about this kind of thing. Like, what are we going to do about, like, there? Your move order is weird. I mean, you should definitely play d3. I'm not sure there's a concrete problem. And now you've, like, transposed back into something. But black has d5, and you have to try to keep the tension here. So I don't know. Bishop e3, I guess. Bishop e3 or bishop a2? Black goes out on a5, and then you're like, oh, I'm happy now. I've tried to do this kind of thing with black. Yeah, it doesn't seem that great. It's probably not that great to put the knight on a5. You could even let him take it, theoretically. And it probably wouldn't be that bad. Now his knight is just sort of jonesing out on a5. The problem is if you bring your queen out, he can try to trade queens with something like this. So you played f5. I don't know if it's objectively sound or not, but that's the standard idea, yeah. I mean, I definitely think like white has compensation. This looks really dangerous. His knight's on a5 for no reason, essentially. So he takes, and now queen h4, but I imagine there's also bishop g5. Yeah, that's standard. This is a standard situation. So if like knight c6, you have bishop g5. Black can't play f6. and he's close to losing. Black has misplayed the position, but this is insane. Black played bishop takes c3. That's like the worst move ever. And then he could just resign because of the dark square weaknesses in this position. Narf. Queen g5, queen h6 is tempting. But this is awfully cute. Actually, yeah, okay, you're gonna play just there directly, I get it. You could also play queen f6 first. That's pretty hard to meet as well. I don't know what black would possibly play. You know? Because of this, if he tries to move the knight, you have queen takes g6 check. And if here you have like knight g5 check. So it's lost either way. I mean, if I was black, I guess he can at least try to like, here at least he can try to maybe sacrifice the exchange or something to stay alive. But after queen f6 it's mate. No way to stop the mate. Nice job. Alright. Last game. Last game. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks everyone. Tomorrow morning is Friday. It's Weird Wednesday. Sorry, Weird Friday. Rapid challenges, 11:30 a.m. Central European. Yeah, Eastern European, Central European. Central European summertime. That's it. I am losing my mind. Nice game, Icy Hot. Alright. So this is our last game. It's Goiju. Been a long day. Thursdays are a long day for me. This is first all-time over the board win. Okay, so you recently started playing over the board. So it's some kind of coffee house gambit. Like a modified Black Mardeemer. I wouldn't play this personally, but one of my teammates would love this. Sometimes people play, you know, they do play the Black Mardeemer and hope to get like pawn takes pawn. Obviously that's possible. I remember once I played this. The only time I faced it when I was like 2,200 or something and beat a 1,900, but that's really not, this is not a critical like acid test of the system. It's like playing d3 in the Mora. You're supposed to take the pawn. But bishop c4, man, this is very weird. But it might catch someone off guard. Short played it. Alright, knight f6. You know, there's also bishop f5. Sometimes these type of moves are tricky. I found that sometimes, surprisingly, there can be a difference between like bishop f5 and knight f6, oddly. One might be better than the other. Yeah. But normally it's knights before bishops. Right, bishop f5 allows g4. Although that, you know, may or may not be a good move. It's something my teammate would play, Prorok Martin. He was playing all these stupid gambits every round in the Hungarian Team Championship. It was driving me crazy. He gets a chance to play like really strong players and then plays garbage against them. It just really pissed me off. I guess if garbage is all you know, garbage is all you can play, but it's embarrassing. Knight f6, f3. So it is a delayed Black Mardeemer. I mean, there could be some possibility of b5. Wow, that's the #1 move. Well, I'm just saying because Prorok played it against something similar against Atzel, and they did have b5 came into play. I think we had a game in the analysis stream a couple like months ago where there was a very similar variation. So b5 looks dynamic. I mean, you know, the thing is with like b5, it's not a normal Caro-Kann where your bishop came out. So I would think there's some situations where this bishop is coming to fianchetto itself like a Marin or something, and that's, you know, kind of justifying the whole concept of playing b5, like a Queen's Gambit accepted or a Marin. I mean, either you go to f5 or you, yeah, like Yasser would maybe play this. I don't know, or you play b5 and then you're gonna put the bishop on the weak white square. So he just takes. This is very principled, obviously. Takes, and then he falls for the trap with bishop takes f7. So bishop f5 is like theory. And other than that, you know, again, maybe black can play b5. Berkish Senf, 1997. Gotta be like World Junior. That's funny, I played Ferenc in 1997. No, maybe it was like Ketchkamet or something. I played Ferenc in Ketchkamet. I made an IM norm beating him in like one of the last rounds, maybe the last round of the tournament. That's funny. Yeah, he was around 2200. Exactly the same year. He was like 14. Now he's 2650, but that's funny. Yeah, b5 is a move. But bishop g4 is a blunder. The question is, who cares? Do you want to do bishop f7, king f7, knight e5 check? Because this like destroys his, this destroys his king safety forever. Now I would probably prefer this. This is called von Henning Gambit? I never knew that. I thought it was the other von Henning. You see, there's one thing about knight e5, Arsenal fan, that he can play bishop e6. See, like what happened in the game. This is the only issue, really, right? Like bishop e6, we can't quite, you know, we don't ruin his castling rights, like bishop takes a7. Even though his structure is destroyed, he still can't, you know, he still can castle on either side. So I think bishop takes a7 I like better. I mean, obviously you have a good position. And now I'm just looking at this, thinking, okay, it's lame, but maybe we ought to just support our center and then go about our business or something. This pawn is very annoying. I guess you could sacrifice it in some lines. You might even play like king h1 and just say, okay, screw it, I'm going to go crazy. How do we get our queen? This looks good, actually. Queen d3, queen h3. It's not much of a pawn, though, honestly. I personally haven't studied the Black Mardimer. I don't know if this is good or not. It looks a little on the risky side. I think there are safer ways to play the position. I mean, queen e2 is a second pawn sack, and it's definitely plausible. Check, king h1. Black has, like, virtually no development. But honestly, I'm sort of partial to this idea, because it's a really good way to zone in on that weak point. It's like kind of the only one. There's also here. All right, like rook g8 is. I mean, I don't know what black should play, but it ain't rook g8. I guess. I'd sooner play g5, honestly. That'd be funny. g5, bishop takes g5, rook g8. I mean, at least he would have some sort of like counterplay, I guess, to some degree, against your king there. This looks really ugly. Rook g8 looks awful. Yeah, this is a good move. But we've got to be careful that black doesn't, you know, get castle queenside or trade pieces too much. Here. It's looking like it's going to be hard to survive. Obviously, rook g8 was a really bad move for black. Like, seriously, what was the move there? Objectively. Can we get a suggestion from the peanut gallery? Oh, bishop g7. It's actually okay. Wow. So if g5, knight h5, he's gonna keep pressure on d4 and possibly trade off your knight. And black is okay. If he could trade queens, he's definitely, like, surviving. You know, you could end up suffering in an endgame with a kind of bad bishop. We definitely don't want to let black trade queens. So that confirms my suspicions. Queen d3 is strong, bro. Apparently knight e2 is the #1 move, but queen d3 is good. And I think you got to be quick. So bishop g7, I was thinking this, but apparently knight e2. That's a nice idea. Look at that. That knight twisting its way up to f4 like a tornado. That's really cool. Yeah, so g4 was too primitive. Get out your club and beat him to death. Luckily, he wasn't up to the task, and queen f3, rook g7. We've got a huge advantage here. Now what? He's starting queen c7 and escape, I guess. Escape pod. He's going to get in his escape pod. You played rook f2. I mean, this is an obvious move, but black's going to go here and try to castle queenside. So the point is, if we take, he's going to take with the king. You know, maybe you're winning. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. If this isn't like lights out, because you have 5 pieces developed against this ridiculous. Like, look at that. This catastrophe. Yeah, it's totally over. It's totally over. But this is slow. It's a little slow. Yeah, now he's going to castle queenside. So you got to take on d7. And you didn't, and you're lucky if you got away with this. He got to castle queenside. Wow. It looks like he might be okay now. Unbelievable. And now he can actually take on e5, and he doesn't. What's happening? Queen takes check. This is hanging. But it feels like you're just going to get your pawn back. He played rook g8, another passive move. Yeah, this isn't good. So it looks like the only try here, attacking your queen. And it's still not clear. Queen takes e6 check. Knight d7. You've got rook f8. But you're not up any pieces here yet. +2. Queen takes f8 work. Oh. Wait, where? Where now? Here? Oh. Well, obviously he has to take with the knight. And you take. Yeah, I don't think it quite works. It might work if black cooperated. This is a really bad move, though. Now, does he have bishop g7? He does. So he's managed to survive this long. I mean, jeez. He's lucky to be alive. And then knight c4 was a nice move. Avoiding exchanges and threatening d5. d5 looks really nasty. So he has king d8. He should play king d8. Phew, this is crazy. I mean, b5 is nuts, man. b5 is just nuts. I would be surprised if he didn't have some kind of crazy tactic here. b5 is totally insane. I guess you're limited in what you can do. Knight a5 doesn't quite work. d5. Knight takes b5. Wow, it's the best move. Crazy. Looks like it should lose. That's amazing. But you could play d5 apparently. I probably would have done the more forcing move. But apparently he's okay. Takes. Oh. Yeah, he's just hanging on. But your move is the best apparently. Knight d2 retreating. But I don't think... I mean, does he have to do that? Why can't he play like king d8? You're coming down to the 7th. I think I'd still rather have that than b5, personally. I guess he was pretty desperate. If he trades queens, he has a chance to live, you know. You're not up any material here, and you fix his pawn structure. So you played, like, practically with queen g4. That's a big problem. I mean, he's been down the knight ever since it's gone to h5. He's strategically down a piece. King b7, obviously that's the point. And now here. Now he has a really good square for his queen on d5, where it's secure. But it can be hit by knight c3. Damn. That's heartbreaking. So this doesn't work. His problems just get worse after that. So you had to go back here or b4, which is risky. So now you've got better structure, chances to open it up with like c4. Got another knight coming to b3. And now knight check. And then, yeah, beautiful fork here. Of course, your queen is going to be hanging to queen c8. But he has family fork. Man, is he getting out of this? If you played like h3, he's just exchanging rooks. Unbelievable. I mean, you're still clearly better here. Maybe this is better, I don't know. Oh, okay. Obviously, rook f7 looks pretty strong, too. Better bone structure. Rook f7. Oh, you just played, like, super safe. This is too slow, man. Man, you could have messed up here. Dude, you could have totally thrown away the advantage. I mean, it looks like you have to play rook f7. You're all over him here. Because you have a fork here. If he tries to play, I mean, you're also on e7. That looks crushing, honestly. I think you're giving him a huge chance to save the game now. If his knight comes to f5, he may be able to blockade. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. This is terrible. Honestly, after knight f5, I think that black, you know, he might be holding on. He misses knight f5. It's a monster blockading square, and it defends e7, and your rook doesn't get in. Now you're a little bit better, maybe, but not much. It's not going to be easy. Right. Right. No, c3 isn't necessary, but this also is like a little late because now he has this, and I'm not so sure I like this. You know, takes, 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 check. Things are getting really messy here. So, you shouldn't have let his knight get back in the game. You know, his knight is like relegated to the side of the board. Rook f7 right away is crushing. Yeah. You're lucky he gave you this ending where you're able to penetrate here, and you could still win a pawn. Ooh, you don't even have that. Oh my god, you can't trade rooks. I mean, you can trade rooks, but I don't know if you should trade rooks. Maybe you should play rook e2. Arsenal, get out your crystal ball. The ending is... Oh, you have the passed pawn. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. You think the passed pawn is winning? Maybe this is winning? Alright, if the passed pawn is winning, it's winning. So let's do it. h5. No time to screw around here. If f4... we have a problem, Houston. It's not working. So we don't have time for h5. We have to move the king. Very good. But I think Arsenal's right for once. Wait a minute. Oh man, I don't know, dude. He has knight G7. Oh my god. I don't know if we're winning. This is pretty crazy. It's knight h5. Maybe. Maybe we are winning, but it's really not clear to me. King b7, bishop e5. I don't know. How do you win this position? Unbelievable. It's a draw with the knight on the side of the board there. We can't win. That's insane. But we are winning, apparently. Oh, h5 was winning. Okay, I missed something. g6 was winning. You're right. Oh my god. h6, h takes g, h6, knight f8, and bishop takes f4 is winning. Wow. Check this variation out. Alright. That's hard to see, though. I had given up on it. I had given up on it because I thought it wasn't enough. So you got to calculate all the way here and then see that you're still winning. Even though, you know, damn it, with the mouse, what is it doing? Even though we're actually not up any material, our king is like a million miles away. The passed pawn just ties his knight down. How does our king get in? Apparently here there is Zugzwang. Bishop g5. But what about knight h7? King f2. King b7. King e3. King c8. For example, wow, d5. This would not be easy. You have to play very precisely to make sure the white king gets in somehow. Totally easy to mess this up. And after this move, it's a draw. He missed knight g7. Yeah, he could have played king e4 there. This is the only move. I think it's a draw after this. It's a weird sort of fortress. Though there may be tricks in where you could try to play for a win. He played knight f8. My god. Is h5 good? Yeah. And you just get in. You're just getting in. It's over. Wow. Yeah, that was lucky that he didn't play. He didn't find knight g7. Wow. All right. Anyway, epic win for your first win over the board. Nice job. A little crazy in the opening, but if you enjoy it, that's fine. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Mr. Coffee, I don't know where you are. Wherever you are, wish you the best of luck. All right, guys. I will see you later. That's it. Have a great one. Take care. There you are. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.